Hey everyone, welcome back. It's another Sunday session and we're back doing some more in our rubbish journal. Yep, it's complete rubbish. And what I mean by that is that this journal is made from true junk, true rubbish, things, trash, things that other people might well throw away. So have a look back at the other videos in this series and you will see how I made this journal and also how I made the ephemera that you see here. Let me just show you that ephemera. There we go. This ephemera here I made in the second Sunday session. I've also got a few other bits and pieces here. This one I actually started or showed you the basis of in the video where I made this ephemera. This is basically a cutlery pouch and it's really, really simple. It's been folded up and glued to make a pocket. I've stuck a little bit of paper in there. It was some packaging because when I cut the thumb notch, you could just see the logo on the cutlery pouch and I didn't want to see that. This, you might remember if you watched that video, I had this gorgeous little it had some tea in it actually, and if you're a bit of a tea connoisseur, have a look out for this Tea Thief make. I think they're a New Zealand make, so you may or may not be able to get them. Anyway, it was this gorgeous little pot. I really couldn't think of a use for it in terms of junk journaling because it's pretty solid and it's round, but what I did was pushed out the top, which is that bit there. This is now going to sit on my desk as like a little pot to put pens and things in, just because it's so lovely. Anyway, that's where that came from. These have been punched out of paint chips, you know, the samples that you get in the hardware store, like this. And I think I showed you last week, you can peel these off as well. So I have a feeling that that's what that is as well underneath. So that one's done. And to go in it, this was a little business card. Again, it's got a paint chip. This was a sticker, bit of bag handle. There you go. So we've got a little journaling card in there. Oh, and it's backed with a piece of paper bag. And I showed you this tag. This was a clothing tag. It was a folded one, which I thought was great. The back's a little bit rough, but I don't mind that. It says born from passion, crafted from experience, perfected through dedication. I thought, what a cool little saying. Anyway, the writing, there was lots of writing inside, and I just kind of stuck a little bit of napkin over it just to disguise it a little bit. I've cut some more paper bag, made a little notebook. So that was that one I finished. I've got some other bits and pieces here which I'll show you as we go along today. This was the top of one of those wine boxes I showed you last week, and literally all I've done is stuck a piece of the paper bag handle across it. And I'm hoping that whilst I'm completing my journal, I might find a little flower or a word or something like that to go on there. Okay, I do just want to show you this. Those I'll be using in a moment. This is a beautiful little card that was sent to me by my aunt. And I hope this has been on my windowsill actually, just because it was so pretty. I wanted to enjoy it. And I looked at it this morning and went, do you know what? That's a ready-made pocket. All I'm going to do with this is to glue up here and up here. It's got this lovely deckled edge. It's got the coloured strip there. So I'm gluing down there, down there. That's a ready-made pocket. It could be a floating pocket or it could be stuck in. It could be hinged. We'll see. But, you know, keep your eyes out for things like this. You don't have to do anything with it. And in fact, a little tag look would go in there nicely. So that might make a little set. We'll see. All right. So where I'm going today is I'm actually going to start getting some of this ephemera into the journal. Alrighty, I've got my basic supplies. I've got my glue and my scissors, and once I've actually sat on my chair, there we go, we're going to start assembling this. Now let's put some of this stuff to the side for a moment, so that we can concentrate. Now I'm going to start with this, and I'm going to start at the back of my journal. I actually want to use this back cover, which is nice and solid. And if you remember, this is a little plastic bag with one of these zippy closed tops. And I cut the bottom off to get rid of the bulk. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to glue this bit. Now, because this is plastic, I'm not absolutely sure how it's going to stick down. So I've got this silicone glue, which does get very sticky, but is very, very good. Now you have to have a little bit of patience for it to... It really is quite strong. So I'm going to glue that back flap. I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to stick it there. Alright, now I only want that back flap stuck down. Now, because I trimmed off the bulk, the bottom of that is open, so I'm actually just going to run a little bit of glue down in there as well. Oh, come on. There we go. I'm going to run a little bit of glue down in there and press all that down nice and firmly. Now, as you will see, so I'm just wiping my hands, that silicone glue is great, but it does get everywhere. Right. As you will see, I couldn't get all of that nasty sticky label off. So what I'm going to do, this is the remains of an old envelope, as you can see. I'm going to take this envelope, and I'm actually just going to tear very roughly down there. Ooh, I hope that light's all right. It's just starting to come in my window here. Now I'm going to flip that over, and I'm going to stick that yeah, I'm going to leave those bits. In fact, what I'm going to do before I stick it down, cut off those little round bits, and that should be about the right length. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to stick that on there, and that's going to hide that this yucky thing. That's not very descriptive, is it? This yucky thing, you know what I mean. So I hope you're all having a lovely weekend. I'm very excited now because it's not long before Mr. Gemini go away. And our lovely friend who comes and looks after our house whilst we're away has been in touch to say, oh, he's looking forward to coming up and spending some time here. So we're really getting a little bit excited. The weather's not been great, but hey, that's all right. Okay, so that's that. I could leave that as it is, but I came across this the other day as well. Now, you may have seen me use these before. These are actually wine labels. And that's a really lovely wine, actually. And I just think, I know it's got a little tear there. I struggled to get this one off, but I do think, I don't know, I might just cut Mr. Fox out, I think, really quickly. And I'm going to pop him on there. Now, I used one of these a little while ago, and a number of you went, oh, that's so cool. So when I found another bottle of the same wine, I deliberately kept the label. And I think when I used it before, I sort of covered all the writing and everything, but you know, because this is just for me, and I actually just think he looks just quite cool on there, and it's just something else that you'll see as you flip that bag up. I was going to crease that a little bit better there. That's it. All right, now I did say last week I've decided I'm going to use black and brown ink pads for this project. I'm not going to be using paints, but the black and brown ink I am using, and you will see I've used it on a couple of the bits of ephemera that we made last week. The other thing I have used, and I thought was quite effective, I was sort of trying it out, this is just a black liner pen, and I thought that was quite good, and there were sort of some marks along the edge of this one here, and so I just drew a little pattern. So that's another option if you don't want to be using inks, or you know, you're traveling, you don't have them with you, anything like that. A pen will work just as well. Right, I am just going to glue Mr. Fox down there just because I love him. Oh, let's put that on there. Now, when I take wine labels off bottles, quite often they are still sticky or they're very flimsy, and so I find it's quite useful to stick them to a piece of paper. There we go. I'm just going to pop him there. Oh, what I might just do, what have I got? I have this black gift wrap tissue, which again has come off something that was gifted to me. I'm just wondering, having said I'm not going to do anything else with him, I am just wondering whether that might just sort of give that, might just ground him. Let's try. This doesn't need anything more than a bit of glue stick. Now, put that on there. Doesn't matter if we cover a little bit of that writing. There we are. I think that's just grounded him a little bit. I mean, look, you can always add on, can't you? Let's just check. Am I in frame? Yes. Okay, cool. Right. Oh, do you know, I was going to throw that away, but actually that's quite pretty, isn't it? And again, you know, we're all about using things, so let's put those bits to the side. Okay, so that's our first bit of ephemera in. There's a lovely little pocket keeper here. We can put things in it, do this up, do the zippy bit up, and we know that things are safe, they're not going to fall out. All right, what else have we got? Let's have a look. Now, I've got an address on here, which I do want to cover, and I'm wondering whether this might be a nice place to put flicking back. I think that might be a good place to put our pocket. It's not going to cover it that way, is it? No, it is going to cover it this way. And if I popped it there, then we've got room to put some other bits here if we want to. Right, we'll put that on in a minute. I want to flick back because I wanted to show you something else. Last week I talked about using packaging which had already got apertures cut in it. And I did that with this one here. But with the smaller ones like this, I mean, this is a really cute little heart shape. If you are going to be using ink or paints or anything like that, look at this. There you go. You can add decoration with a stencil. Let's do half of one here. To cover his face. Bother. Just see if I can line that up again. That's better. Yeah, we might just do a little bit up here. There we go. I might just this is the trouble, isn't it? Or for me, is knowing when to stop. There we are. So all we've done is used some packaging and our ink pad to create a stencil. Just something a little bit extra that I wanted to show you. And again, you know, I was saying about sticking this on because I'd like to cover the name and address that's on that envelope. If you've got a different stencil, I mean, you could use something like this. I mean, you could use a piece of packaging and cut your own stencil. You know, it's still using junk. Again, like I said last week, there are no rules to this. It's purely and entirely up to you what you do. I'm actually going to put that there. And in my travels, I'm going to keep an eye out and see if I can find something that might work as a little decorative border. I mean, it might be something like this. Do you know what? I found this last week. This is a band off a ball of wool, you know, like knitting wool. Normally something you would throw away, but look, aren't these pretty? And you can very carefully open these up. And you've got these lovely pieces. In fact, you could use that as a belly band as it is, even if you wanted to stick something over here. But I mean, in all honesty, it's not offensive, is it? So I mean, you've got an instant belly band. Or I was thinking, if this was a different colour and matched this, I would think about cutting it into strips and making a little border. But anyway, let's glue this down. And so I'll show you how I'm going to do this pocket, because this is just ultra simple. You know, we spend a lot of time making things and cutting things, don't we? And the card's very special to me because it's come from my aunt in Canada. And so I don't want to throw the card away. I know what it says inside. And so for me, this is just a way of keeping it and being able to look back on it. Now I'm just thinking, before I stick that down, I think I am just going to just define that edge. I don't want to do that scalloped edge. I think that's pretty as it is. I'm just going to put the tiniest bit of ink around the other edges. There we go, and then we're ready to stick that down. Now, there we go, so we've got a pocket there. I quite like pockets facing inwards because then things don't fall out. But you know, again, that's entirely up to you. Now also, you will see I'm only going to glue around 3 sides of this. I'm making a bit of a mess there. Did I leave the right one open? Yes. Just hold that down for a moment. Oh. Honestly, that glue's gone everywhere today, hasn't it? There we go. All right, what did I find to put in there just now? Oh, that, yes, a little journaling card made from a tea bag packet, tea box packet. There we go, that fits in there just nicely. And I've also got some space at the back here that I can put something else if I want to. So now don't forget, this journal is for me, and this is going to be for me to use whilst Mr. Jem and I are travelling around in a caravan for a couple of weeks. So what you see today is not going to be finished. It's going to be to the point where it's, hopefully, where it's ready for me to take away and add to as we're travelling around. And again, what I'm going to be adding into it is going to be rubbish, things that would otherwise be thrown away. All right, but for me, that's lovely. I like that as it is. I may find a little word or something from a, I don't know, a pamphlet or a magazine or something whilst we're away and add to it. For now, that's okay. Leave that page for a minute. So we've got, of course, our tuck spot here. What do we want? So I don't want anything too bulky opposite that. I love how these pages have come out. These are the ones that I glued 2 pieces of paper bag together. Sorry, my brain's not working today. And then I flattened them with my hair straighteners, and they've got this most amazing texture. I really wish you could feel it. I'm just going to flick for a minute because I've got this lovely belly band that I want to get in with this on, and I need quite a sturdy page for that. That's quite it's quite weighty. Actually, I think I'll just have a check, but I think that page might be quite a good one. Yeah, I'm going to pop this one in here. This is wrapping. Gosh. No, actually, I'm going to go here. This is the wrapping paper that I used to line the journal with, but it's quite firm. So I did know that I was going to have to cut this off. The other option, of course, is putting it on the front cover, but I'm not sure I like those colours together. Right, let's mark that and there. Yep, and I'd inked this in brown, so I'll just finish inking the edge, top and bottom. And if you remember, this was a sympathy card. Now I'm going to go with my very sticky silicone glue again. And I also created this from a clothing tag and some broken jewellery, which I thought would look really nice on top like that. So again, I'm going to put just a bit of my glue in the middle. Alright, there we are, we've got a belly band, and there's a journaling card made from the same card. So for now we're just going to pop that underneath. Good to go. Just, yeah, oh gosh, that glue made a real mess, didn't it? Let's check my pages aren't stuck together. No, there we go. What should we do next? Right, I have this set here. If you remember, these were from the front of a chocolate box, and I want to use this one as a side tuck. So I think we'll flip back a bit. The page isn't big enough, but this one is, so I think we will go, that's almost too big, isn't it? You know, this is one of the things I find hardest about making journals, is knowing where to put things. And I don't know about you, but how I'd be keen to know, how do you decide where to put things? Because I'm going, oh, I've got so many options here. In fact, I'm going to use this because I want to cover that bit of the bag that's torn, and I know that means trimming this down a bit. Oh, no, I'm not. That means trimming it down too much. Oh, there we go, look. Yeah, so when you're making a journal, how do you decide what to put where? I'm really keen to know. Yeah, I did ink the edges. Because I think for me sometimes it does just feel a little bit random. I mean, you know, usually ends up looking okay, but I wonder if anybody's got a system. Okay, there's a little side tuck. I'm going to be careful because obviously it's not quite dry, but again we've got the matching two journaling cards. That's fine as it is. All right, let's pop those two cards in there. Now, what else have we got that's finished? What else have we got? Oh, that might tuck nicely into there actually. It's got those similar yellow colours. There we go, ready-made pocket. This is going to be a corner pocket like this. Okay, there we go. That's going to cover the packaging, the marks on the packaging as well. Yeah, it's been inked. So this is going to be a tuck spot, so I'm literally just going to go along those two sides. And we're in. There we go. And again, this was the front of a birthday card. Now I've got this plastic sleeve. Now this is some, I don't know, packaging, something came in it. And I had a bit of an idea the other day to use, where's it gone? There. The yellow flap, and I kind of wanted to use this as a means of putting this in, but I'd had another thought, because I also thought that this could double over and tuck in, and again then you can open it up and it would be a pocket to put things in. Now I had something in mind to go on there. Bear with me, I'm just going to have a look through my box of bits, because I know that I identified something to go on there. Right, this was the idea I had. This is just a piece of packaging. I think it's off a box that had one of those room scenty things in. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw around this. Cut this out. So this is the, obviously, this is the flap of that envelope that you saw me put something in just now. And I need to put something over the front of that, because it's got a name on. But my idea was, and you know what, I don't know whether this is going to work. It really is just, okay. That'll be all right, I think. What I'm going to do, before I stick it together, is just ink that so that if the edge is showing, it doesn't really matter. In fact, put that underneath for a minute. There we are. Right. So my idea is, that's the sealed end of the bag. So my idea is to put that into there and that onto there. And then I have another, this is another wine label, I think. It's not all drunk by me, honestly. And then tack that over, and it will tuck in there if we only glue this bit down. And that makes another pocket. Right, let's try it. Love this. It's real autumnal colours, and it really is starting to feel autumnal here in New Zealand now. And in fact, I harvested my pumpkins this morning, and it was wonderful. We had 11 sort of medium-sized pumpkins, and I think 4 small ones. So I was really, really pleased. Now, as you can see, I've only just done a little bit along the bottom there. Which is going to give me a little bit of space to tuck that bag into. Right, so my idea is, let's move that. You put your things in here, so it's like a pocket. And then this tucks down and holds in there. What I think I will do, I don't want to stick that in at the moment because it's got wet glue still, but I am going to put a little crease along the bag there, and then hopefully that will stay. All right, I'm going to, as I say, I'm going to pull it out in the moment whilst that dries thoroughly. So there we go, another piece of rubbish used. Oh, got my lovely pocket here, and you know, that's going to look good on this old wrapping paper, isn't it? Let's flick through backwards a little bit. And again, right now I'm going to glue this as it is, and hopefully as I'm going along we'll find things to go in it or things to decorate around the edge. So yeah, super harvest of pumpkins. Really pleased. And we're still eating green beans from the garden. And we've got the last of the tomatoes. What else did I pick today? Oh, we've still got some spring onions. Oh, and I had the last cucumber from the glass house today, so that was cool. There we go. There's a great little pocket made from a chocolate box. And I've got another pocket here. This was our playing card box. So I'll pop that, maybe we'll move. It's a shame there's not 2 of them, isn't it? I'm going to put it down there because then, as I say, I could stick things here, or it's going to leave space for journaling. Actually, I'm going to put on this outside edge so that the middle doesn't get too bulky. Right, there we go, decision made. Again, the other thing you could do if you wanted to was to use the apertures in your packaging, and you could decorate the back of a page, a whole page, you know, just like I did here. So that's another option. The other thing I did think about, and I need to have a look and see if I've got some, you get some really pretty tissue paper, which you can use as like an overlay on your pages if you want to decorate a page. Now, I have a feeling I do have some. My lovely friend Paula, who lives in the UK, sent me a beautiful painting that she'd done the other day, and it was wrapped in the most gorgeous tissue paper. So it was a win-win. I had this beautiful picture that she'd made for me, and also some lovely gift wrap tissue. So let me just see if I can go and I can find that, because I want to show you what I mean about the page. Isn't this amazing? Now, I'm not sure I know anybody that would actually throw this out, but you know, given that I received it as a wrapping paper, I'm going to include it. And I'm just going to cut a corner. So I've got 2 pieces of this. Isn't it wonderful? And this is sort of a printed gift wrap tissue. So it's got a little bit of body to it. Now, if I was doing this normally, or outside of a journal, like you could do this before you put your journal together, I would do this with watered down PVA or Mod Podge, but I know that I am really messy. I can't do things carefully. So I'm actually going to use glue stick, and I'm just going to do this to show you how you can use, if you have pretty gift wrap tissue, I'm going to show you how you can create a page background. And so I'm literally just doing this with a glue stick, which I'm hoping is going to work. And also look, particularly if you are doing something like a journal to take with you when you're travelling, you don't always have all your different glues with you. In fact, I'd be surprised if you do. You know, you might just have, I mean, I tend to travel with a glue stick. If I'm staying in this country, I'll take a little bottle of slightly stronger glue like this as well. If I'm going abroad, I will only take a glue stick, just because it's less complicated on lots of levels. Tempted to tuck that around the page. Oh, do you know what? I've had a thought. Right. I'm going to cut across here. Now, my original thought was just to do that, and then you've got a lovely decorative page. You can stick a pocket on there, or actually that might look quite nice on there, or you can use the inside of an envelope and stick on as some journaling space. I'm actually going, oh, it's a shame that's not a little bit longer. I'm actually going to just carefully tear down here, like that, and I'm just going to glue that piece. Excuse me, I'm turning everything around, goodness me. You do exactly the same with the glue stick, which seems to be working, by the way. And I'm going to fold that over. Yeah, I don't actually mind the wrinkles in it, I think it adds to it. There you go, and I've got a decorative edge to a page where I can do some journaling. And in fact, I love this so much, I might do a couple of other pages like that. And as I say, let me show you what I was talking about. This is a junk mail envelope, obviously. But what you can do is open these up and use them. And you could either use the blue or the white side. So I mean, I could cut here, and that would create some journaling space for me to stick onto there and use. And again, you've just got a pretty background for it. Again, you could use a white paper bag. You know, we've got white paper bags in here, or a brown paper bag, whatever you wanted, really. The other thing I do have is I have some pages from an old diary, and I'm just thinking if I was to go and find those, they would actually stick on and create quite a nice kind of writing space as well. I might do that later. All right, I will probably do another page the same as that because I really like how that's come out. And not only is it beautiful paper, but again, when I look at it, I'm going to be thinking of my friend in the UK. And do you know, I think that's one of the things that has kind of, it's occurred to me as I've been sort of starting to create this. When you're using things like this, I mean, this is the card box. This is the box from the set of playing cards I used last year to do the full deck challenge, which was a challenge run by Shana at Shanuki Art. And if you look back at my videos, you can see that challenge. So it's got memories for me. When I look at this card, you know, this has memories for me. When I look at this beautiful chocolate box here again, you know, and so by upcycling and reusing things like this, I think not only are you're using things that might otherwise have been thrown away, but I can look at this and go, oh, this was a lovely birthday card that Mr. Jem gave to me last year. You know, it has memories and it has meaning as well. So I'm all for, I've decided I'm all for doing things like this. All right, you know, I think I might do this page as well because it has the similar colours in here and it's going to pick those up nicely. So I'm going to do that in exactly the same way, and then I'll come back and we'll see what else we're going to do. Right, so I've done that page in exactly the same way, and again I flipped the edge over because this was one of those pages made from a bag that had a bit of a sort of sticky mark down the side still where it had been stuck together. So for me, that's a lovely journaling page. I can journal here. It's got a bit of decoration down the edge. Now on that other page, it's a little bit damp, as you can see. I found my, look at these old diary pages from 2022. As you can see, I've been using them as brayer off sheets and all sorts of just scrap paper. But what I did was cut a piece out and stuck on top of that gift wrap tissue to make a journaling spot. And the some of those pages had a really nice little quote along the bottom. So I've included that. Now the other thing I did from the remains of that journal page, because they were quite big, I've cut this piece. And this is one of the old business cards that you'll have seen me use before. So I've cut this piece of old diary page, and I have folded it into 4, and then I've trimmed it so that it's the same size as this business card. And I'm going to stick this on. And I just want to think about which way I'm going to do this. Yep, that's okay that way. All right, now what I'm going to do is to stick this in, and it will then open up as extra journaling space. But before I do, I've pulled this out, and if you're watching me gel print a few weeks ago, this is the stuff that they wrap around spirit bottles when you buy them in the duty-free store. Or a very similar stuff comes around our LPG gas bottles, and it's kind of a plasticky mesh, and I've tried it on the gel plate with some mixed results, but I actually just thought, and I have tried this just on the corner of one of those diary pages, which is why it looks a bit black there. I was actually thinking this, you have to hold it really carefully, but this would make another really cool stencil. And you have to sort of work your brush in a little bit, and I'm not going all the way over, I'm just wanting kind of random bits. Now, it is quite tricky because you have to hold it because it concertinas up on itself. But there you go, again, quite an effective way of just adding a little bit of something to the background of your page. All right, which way am I going to put this? Goes that way. That's going to fold out. I think that's going to be best. Right, so I'm going to glue this edge. glue stick should hold it. Pop it in the middle there. Now I do just want a little tab on that. I've got this circle that's been punched out for some wallpaper, and it didn't quite go to plan. I'm wondering whether if I attach that to there, is that going to work? I might do that, you know. So as I say, this has been punched out of a wallpaper scrap and it didn't quite work for what I wanted it to. So I feel quite justified in using this actually, because, you know, it genuinely would have probably got thrown away because it didn't work. So put a glue on that corner. There we go. And so now we'll be able to flip that out. Lots of lovely hidden journaling space in there. Fold it up again. We'll just see if we want to put this one in anywhere, and I think I want to finish inking the edge for this one as well. Now my idea with this is to glue down here and here, so that it makes little sort of corner tucks, so that you can pop little photos or mementos or whatever in there. And I think actually it's going to go quite nicely there. Oh, see, I would prefer a green ink. But I'm going to stick with what I decided originally. So we'll go with brown. Right. So I'm going to glue down the middle there. Oops, not too far out. And across the middle there. So that in effect what you're getting is 4 corner tucks. And I'm going to put it that way a little bit, otherwise I'm not going to get anything in these on these sides. And like I say, I'm hoping I'll find a little word or flower or something attractive to go in the middle there. So things like this will just sit in there and you'll be able to see them through that aperture. And they're obviously a bit big and not sitting in there very well. Okay, let's have a quick look. So we've got that one with a side tuck there with our journaling cards and a decorated page. That in there. Got a pocket, plastic bag pocket. Oh, that did stick. Yuck. Okay, I'll get that off in a minute. A belly band. A pocket. Journaling space. Okay, we've got to pull out. All right, I think that's about all I've got time for today. I have got some other little bits and pieces, and so this week I will try and I need to get this finished off, because as I say, we're going away shortly, and I will do a quick flick through video before I take it away with me, but for now again, I hope it's been interesting. I mean, you can define junk and rubbish in any way that you want to. But I've had real fun creating this, and as I say, one of the unexpected things that has occurred to me is the meaning that some of these pieces have for me, and that's something that I'll remember as I'm using the journal. So I hope it's been inspirational, hope it's been fun to watch. Have a lovely week, guys. I will see you back soon, but for now, ka kite anō.